Economic integration is the process where two or more countries join to reduce or eliminate trade barriers and harmonize economic policies to increase trade and cooperation. This involves measures like removing tariff and coordinating fiscal policies to create a larger, more efficient market. The goal is to boost trade, lower costs, and enhance economic efficiency through greater interdependence.
For degrees of economic integration, I will explain the first point, which is preferential trade arrangement or PTA, which is the most basic form of economic integration. A preferential trade arrangement means that member countries give special tariff reduction to each other, but only for selected goods, not everything. So tariffs are lower than usual, but they are not completely removed. This gives member countries an advantage compared to non-member countries. In a simple term, PTA is like saying we are not fully open yet, but we'll give you a better deals than others. For example, if Malaysia and another country agree under a PTA, they might reduce import taxes only on certain products like agricultural goods or manufactured items. One important thing to understand is that PTA does not require deep cooperation. Countries do not need to align their policies, laws, or regulations. Each country still controls its own trade policy. That is why PTA is often used as a starting point before moving to deeper integration. The main benefit of PTA is that it encourages trade gradually. Countries can test cooperation without big risks. However, the limitation is that trade barriers still exist, and the impact of trade growth is usually small compared to other arrangements. So overall, a PTA is a low-commitment, low-risk form of trade integration that helps countries build trust and increase trade step by step.
A free trade area or FTA is when countries agree to reduce or remove tariffs so goods can be traded more easily and cheaply. This helps lower price, attract foreign investment, and create more job opportunities. However, some local industry may face strong competition for cheaper.
Next, I will move on to customs union, which is more advanced form of integration compared to the free trade area. In a customs union, member countries remove tariff among themselves, just like in an FTA. But the key difference is that they also adopt a common external tariff or CET for non-member countries. This means all members charge the same tariff rate to outsiders. For example, Mercosur in South America is a customs union. Countries like Brazil and Argentina agree to charge the same import tax on goods coming from non-member countries. The main advantage here is that it simplifies custom procedures. Goods can move more easily within the region, and there is less confusion or trade deflection where imports enter through the lowest tariff country. However, there is a trade-off. Member countries must give up some national autonomy because they can no longer set their own external tariff policies. Decisions must be made collectively, which can be challenging if members have different economic interests. So, a customs union offers stronger regional protection and smoother internal rate, but it requires greater cooperation and compromise among members. And then we're moving on to the fourth one, which is common market, which goes beyond just trade in goods. A common market allows free movement of goods, services, labor, and capital across member countries. This means workers can work in other member countries, companies can invest freely, and services can be provided without restriction. A well-known example is the European Union common market. The biggest advantage of a common market is better allocations of resources. Labor moves to where jobs are available, and capital flows to where returns are higher. This increases efficiency and economic growth across the region. However, to make this work, countries must harmonize regulations such as labor law, professional qualification, and business standards. This requires strong political commitment because the differences in national rules can create conflicts. So, while a common market creates more opportunities for people and businesses, it also demands high coordination and trust among member states. Next, the fifth one is the economic union, which is an even deeper level of integration. An economic union includes everything in a common market, but it also involves coordinations of economic policy, such as taxation, fiscal policy, and government spending rules. A good example is the European Union after the Maastricht Treaty. Member countries agreed to follow certain economic rules to maintain stability across the region. The main benefit of an economic union is greater economic consistency and stability. When countries align their policy, it reduces economic shocks and improves long-term growth. However, the downside is that countries lose more policy independence. Governments cannot freely adjust taxes or spending without considering regional agreement. In short, an economic union strengthens economic cooperation but requires members to sacrifice a significant level of national control. And finally, the highest level of integration is monetary and political union. A monetary union means member countries share a common currency and a single central monetary authority. The best example is the Eurozone, where countries use the euro and follow monetary policy set by the European Central Bank. The advantage is price stability and easier trade, since there is no exchange rate risk between members. However, countries lose control over their monetary policy, such as interest rate. A political union goes even further. It involves shared governance, political institutions, and decision-making system. This is the most complex and difficult stage to achieve.
Trade creation occurs when lower-cost imports from member countries replace higher-cost domestic production due to tariff removal. Consumers benefit from lower prices while countries specialize in industries with comparative advantage. For example, Malaysia importing cheaper sugar from Thailand instead of producing high-cost domestic sugar after joining AFTA. Trade creation increases efficiency, welfare, and overall trade volume. Trade diversion happens when a country buys goods from a trade agreement partner instead of a cheaper country outside the agreement. This is because tariffs are removed for member countries but still applied to non-members. As a result, trade is redirected, not increased, and this can reduce global efficiency. The objective of ASEAN Free Trade Area AFTA are to promote economic cooperation and strengthen trade among ASEAN member countries. Firstly, AFTA aims to eliminate tariff through the Common Effective Preferential Tariff Scheme, CEP, so goods can be traded at low cost and trade barriers among member countries can be reduced. Secondly, AFTA seeks to increase intra-ASEAN trade by encouraging member countries to trade more with each other and depends less on external markets. Thirdly, AFTA aims to strengthen ASEAN's competitiveness by creating a larger and more efficient regional market that can compete in the global economy. Lastly, AFTA aims to attract foreign direct investment (FDI) into the region by offering a more open, stable, and integrated market. One of the major achievements of the ASEAN Free Trade Area AFTA is that tariffs have been reduced to between 0 and 5% on almost all products traded among ASEAN member countries. This has made goods more affordable and trade more efficient within the region. In addition, AFTA has contributed to the strong growth of intra-ASEAN trade as member countries now trade more actively with each other compared to before. AFTA has also helped to create integrated supply chains, especially in key sectors such as electronics, automotive, and agriculture, where production processes are shared across different ASEAN countries. Lastly, AFTA has increased ASEAN's attractiveness to global investors as the region is seen as a more open, stable, and competitive market for investment.
The European Union aims to promote peace and economic cooperation. It allows free movement of people, goods, services, and money. The EU has created a single market, introduced the euro, and helped maintain peace in Europe for many years.
For this part, I will explain NAFTA, which later became USMCA, involving the United States, Canada, and Mexico. NAFTA, or the North American Free Trade Agreement, was created to strengthen economic cooperation between these three countries. Later on, it was updated and renamed USMCA, which stands for United States, Mexico, Canada Agreement, to better suit modern economic needs. The objective of NAFTA and USMCA is to eliminate tariff between the three countries. This makes goods cheaper and trade smoother across borders. Second, it aims to promote investment and supply chain integration. For example, a car must be designed in US, assembled in Mexico, and use parts from Canada. This kind of integration helps firms reduce costs and increase efficiency. Another objective is to increase trade opportunities by opening markets and reducing trade barriers. Businesses gain access to a much larger regional market. Under USMCA, there is also a focus on modernizing digital trade, labor, and environmental policies. This update reflects today's economy, where e-commerce, workers' rights, and environmental protections are more important than before. In terms of achievement, NAFTA and USMCA have led to a significant growth in trilateral trade among the three countries. Trade volume has increased substantially since the agreement started. It has also strengthened North America's supply chain, making the region more competitive globally, especially in manufacturing industry like automobiles and electronics. Another key achievement is the increase in foreign direct investment, particularly in Mexico, where many firms invested in factory and infrastructure. Lastly, USMCA introduced stronger labor and environmental standards which help protect workers and support sustainable development. Now, I will move on to the case study which focuses on Malaysia's role in ASEAN. Malaysia is one of the founding members in ASEAN, established in 1967. Since then, Malaysia has played an active and supportive role in promoting regional cooperation, especially in trade and economic integration. Malaysia strongly supports key Asian initiatives such as Asian Free Trade Area, AFTA, the Asian Economic Community, AEC, and RCEP. Through these frameworks, Malaysia promotes rule-based trade, regional stability, and long-term economic cooperation among member countries. Malaysia often acts as a bridge between developed and developing Asian members, helping to ensure balanced growth within the region. So, what about Malaysia's contribution? In terms of contributions, Malaysia plays an important role in tariff reduction under the Common Effective Preferential Tariff (CEPT) scheme, which helps lower trade costs among Asian countries. Malaysia also contributes to harmonizing product standards, making it easier for Asian goods to move across borders without technical barriers. Another key contribution is in the digital economy, where Malaysia supports digital trade cooperation, e-commerce development, and cross-border digital connectivity. Malaysia also actively encourages investment law, especially in manufacturing and services, helping ASEAN become an integrated production hub. For playing this role in ASEAN, what are the benefits that Malaysia gets in return? In return, Malaysia gains many benefits from ASEAN membership. First, Malaysia has access to a market of over 600 million consumers, which greatly expands export opportunities. Second, Malaysia experiences increased trade in key sectors such as electronic, palm oil, and automotive products. Malaysia also enjoys stronger supply chain integration with neighboring countries like Thailand, Singapore, and Vietnam, which improve efficiency and competitiveness. Finally, ASEAN makes Malaysia more attractive to foreign direct investment as investors see ASEAN as a single integrated production network. To conclude, Malaysia benefits significantly from ASEAN through higher trade, stronger investment inflows, and improved regional competitiveness, while also contributing actively in ASEAN's overall economic development.
In conclusion, economic integration helps countries cooperate by reducing trade barriers and working together on economic policy. Different levels of integration show deeper cooperation between the countries. It increases trade, investment, and economic growth, as seen in ASEAN and NAFTA. However, countries must share rules and give up some independence. Overall, economic integration is important for economic growth and global competitiveness.